Welcome home. So we are talking about affordable housing while living here in America. And as I always say, the rent is too doggone high. Do you hear me? Too doggone high. And what is our theme song? Living in America. And we cannot sing this as happy as James Brown once sang it. Why? Because the rent is too doggone high. And so that's why I created this community, trying to prevent and reduce homelessness one person at a time. And it starts right here with us guys. So I ask you, when I give you this information, that you pass it on to your homeless communities, your families, and your friends who need this information the most. And then press the like button, okay? Pressing the like button or saying something in the comments may make the video go and share it to others and spread. These videos do not get enough play. The people that need it the most do not see these videos, okay? So share it with your homeless community, share it with your family and your friends. Today we are talking about the state of Minnesota. We will talk about public housing. We'll talk about housing choice vouchers. We will talk about project-based vouchers, all right? As the list says, it is updated as of today, but what I have discovered for some of the housing choice vouchers, you have to pay particular attention to it and go to the housing authority of your county or of your choice to just make sure, because sometimes they didn't do their due diligence and come back and say that they had closed, all right? So, but the project-based vouchers, public housing, they're pretty accurate. And on Mondays, I come and I tell you what's opening and closing. Sometimes they're staying open. I will tell you the newest things, the housing choice vouchers, waiting lists on Mondays, all right? And they have been opening a lot of states here lately. So you want to stay tuned. You want to be subscribed on Monday. Before we get started, I want to say, make sure that you do your due diligence, all right? Although we can live in anywhere temporarily, make sure that you do your due diligence before placing yourselves on any open waiting list. Make sure it fits your surroundings, make sure the units fit for your family, all of that good stuff, all right? Even though we know in some cities public housing is not our grandparents' public housing. I also want to say I get a lot of requests about what does my lease mean? How can I not get a landlord to do X, Y, or Z? So I used to be in the legal professional many years ago. I'm no longer in the legal professional, but what I do for myself is I actually use a legal service called Legal Shield. And I have a website, guys. I use it myself. Let me just tell you, years ago, when I had first got out of my parents' house and I rented myself a duplex, I kind of knew some things. I knew some legal things. I always like to stay up on the law, but I was young. And so back in the day when I was moving out, I had an emergency, my landlord wanted to take my security deposit, but I knew that my security deposit did not equal back paid rent. So I told my landlord I was going to take him to small claims court. And of course, he tried to bully me around being the landlord, and I thought the landlord knew more than what I knew at the time, being young. So I kind of got pushed and bullied around, but that was not the law. And he said if I had took him to court, he was going to make me pay some extra charges, make him pay for his wages for taking off work, and I would not get my security deposit back. So guess what, guys? I lost out on that security deposit, but what I found out later from authorities was that he could not use my security deposit as back paid rent. He should have been taking me to court for back paid rent, all right? So there are simple things that you do not know out here about tenant rights, and your landlord, believe me, does not know everything. So don't get pushed around. Go to the website, guys. Get your legal support at ARAKESTRAW.LegalShieldAssociate.com. That is Rakestraw, RAKESTRAW.LegalShieldAssociate.com. All right, so know your rights, not just tenant rights, know all of your other rights. I have used Legal Shield many times, even though I have been a professional myself. I have can write letters myself for refunds and disputes but Legal Shield does it much better than me. I had some disputes all the way in China with a vendor and won my case. All right, so check that out. All right, so let's get started, guys. We're gonna get started. I'm trying to talk loud because I had the fan on. I hope you guys can hear me. Please let me know if you cannot hear me, and I will turn the fan off because I have been told that I do not talk loud. All right, so I'm trying to talk loud. Rice County, Minnesota has a project-based voucher waiting list open, guys. And Atkin County, Minnesota has public housing at the Atkin County Housing and Redevelopment Authority public housing. I always hear good things about Minnesota. I visited many years ago. I actually stayed for a short time, so it's many years ago, and it is a quiet place. All right, I don't know if they changed since then, but you barely hear Minnesota being on the news. So it is a very nice place to stay, guys. There's a project-based voucher at Village Apartments, Minnesota, and there is a project-based voucher at Northfield, Rice County, Minnesota, and a Section 8 housing choice voucher. We love that. Why? Because these are portable. Once you have them a year, you can transfer to another county, another state. All right, so Martin County, Nicollet County, Sibley County, Waseska County, and Watonwan County. I don't take that, but that is Indian. All right. Public housing, the City of Mankato Economic Development Authority. Go there to that housing authority. They also have 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms available for public housing all throughout Minnesota counties. Public housing at Carlton Housing and Redevelopment, and public housing at Minneapolis Public Housing Authority. Public housing at near elderly. So this is for the near elderly, 50 to 61, guys. 50 to 61 for public housing. And project, so please let your seniors know, okay? Because they want to live on their own. They want to be independent. So I cannot stress that enough, all right? Project-based housing at Belle Plaine and Jordan, Minnesota. This is at Bellhaven Apartments and Britland Apartments Rural Development. All right, public housing at Aiken County Housing and Redevelopment Authority, and a project-based voucher at Moorhead, Minnesota at Boyer Apartments. All right, a project-based voucher for 4-bedroom duplex in Clay County Affordable Housing LLC. This is for Dilworth County, Hawley County, Ullin County. And a project-based voucher in Wilmer, Minnesota. A project-based voucher for seniors. Senior housing program for 2-bedroom at multiple properties at Apple Valley and Burnsville, Minnesota. Project-based voucher at Dakota County, Minnesota at Gateway Place. There is a project-based voucher in Dakota County at Workforce Family Townhomes. This is for 2- and 3-bedroom, guys. Please let your families know. There is another project-based voucher in Hawley and Ullin, Minnesota. There's 3-bedroom duplex, Clay County Affordable Housing LLC. And project-based voucher at Nicole Point for the near elderly in Eagan, Minnesota. That is EAGAN. There is a project-based voucher for the seniors, guys. It is called Senior Housing Program Premium Unit. It is for Apple Valley County, Farmington County, Inver Grove Heights, Lakeville, Mendota Heights, Rosemount, South St. Paul, and West St. Paul. There's a project-based voucher in Aiken County at the Village Apartments Senior and Disabled USDA Rural Development, guys. A lot for the seniors here in Minnesota. There is another senior and disabled at the Village Apartments. Why they have it twice, I don't know. There is public housing at scattered sites in Rosemount, Lakeville, Hastings, Burnville, and Apple Valley. And there is project-based voucher at West St. Paul, Minnesota at the Colleen Loney Manor. That is the Colleen Loney Manor. There is public housing at St. Cloud, Minnesota at Empire and Wilson Apartments. And there is a Section 8 housing choice voucher at Red Wing, Minnesota. There is a project-based voucher in Rice County at Spring Creek 2 Townhomes. Public housing in Red Wing, Minnesota at Family Public Housing Units. Public housing at Youth Supportive Housing for a project-based voucher. This is usually big, guys. It is usually for the foster kids that are aging out of foster care and they have nowhere to go. Once they leave that family, they have nowhere to go, so please let your people know that you know in the foster care area, okay? Project-based voucher at Senior Housing Program, 2 bedrooms, multiple properties in South St. Paul, West St. Paul, Rosemount, Mendota Heights, Lakeville, in Inver Grove Heights, Hastings, and Farmington. Section 8 voucher, Carlton County, Minnesota, guys, unlocked. Public housing at Jordan Towers 2 for 2 bedrooms in Red Wing, Minnesota. Project-based voucher at Maple Court Townhomes Apartments for 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. It's a low-income housing tax credit union at Moorhead, Minnesota. All right, I feel like I'm shouting, but you haven't said that you couldn't hear me, so I guess we're okay. Project-based voucher in Moorhead, Minnesota at Eastern Townhomes, and a project-based voucher in Moorhead, I said Maple Court Townhomes, okay. So public housing in Wilmer, Minnesota, it's called Limited, whatever that means for you guys there in Minnesota, and a Section 8 housing choice voucher in Dakota County, Minnesota. Project-based voucher, senior housing program for 1 bedroom, guys, all throughout Minnesota counties, and a Section 8 housing choice voucher at Worthington Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Section 8 housing choice voucher at Housing and Redevelopment of Pipestone. All right. Section 8 voucher, Northwest Minnesota Multi-County Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Section 8 voucher at Itasca Housing and Redevelopment Authority. That is ITASCA, Itasca. And another housing choice voucher at LeSueur and Faribault County, Minnesota Limited. All right, public housing at Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Duluth, Minnesota, and public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Hibbing, Minnesota. Public housing at Winona Housing and Redevelopment Authority, and public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment of Virginia, Minnesota. Public housing at Fergus Falls Otter Tail County Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Public housing at Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Bemidji, Minnesota. That is BMIDJI. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Eveleth, EVELETH. And Public Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Blue Earth. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of St. James. Hello, Chef Hit Dice. I hope you're cooking something good today. You probably already cooked for the 4th. Guys, go over to Chef Hit Dice. I can't eat all the food anymore that Chef cooks, but I can just dream, all right? Go over to Chef Hit Dice channel. All right, public housing at Brainerd Housing and Redevelopment Authority and public housing at Worthington Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Public housing at Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Alexandria and public housing at LeSueur Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Public housing at the Public Housing Commission of the City of Marshall. Guys, no one should be without housing right here in Minnesota. There is public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Park Rapids and public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Laverne. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Pipestone. And public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Braham. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Ely, ELY. Public housing at Fairmount Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Delano. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Red Lake Falls has public housing. And there is public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Breckenridge. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Warren has public housing. And the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Albert Lea has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Crosby has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Austin has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Long Prairie has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Jackson has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Waseca, WASECA has public housing. The Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Moose Lake has public housing. All right, Great Lakes, this is good. So if you guys like a winter state though, that's snow. That would deter me off. But public housing is at Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Pine River. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of New Richland. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Chef. I don't come live often, but I thank you. When I come on here, you are on here. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Cottonwood. Public housing at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of New Richland. And the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Pine River has public housing, if I didn't say that. And the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Lake Benton has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Baudette has public housing. New Economic Development Authority has public housing. And Northwest Minnesota Multi-County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Itasca Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. That is ITASCA. And Renville County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Grant County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Stearns County HRA has public housing. Grant County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Big Stone County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Fergus Falls Otter Tail County Housing and Redevelopment Authority public housing. Todd County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Lincoln County has public housing. I've never talked so long, guys. That's why I don't come live. But I'm almost done. Becker County Economics Development Authority has public housing. And Moore County Housing Redevelopment Authority has public housing. Southeastern Minnesota Multi-County Housing and Redevelopment Authority has public housing. And the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of International Falls has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Montevideo has public housing. Thief River Falls Housing and Redevelopment has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Tracy has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Bagley has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Grand Rapids has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Sleepy Eye has public housing. And the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of the City of Melrose has public housing. Cambridge Economic Development Authority has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Greenbush has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Litchfield has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Pequot Lakes has public housing. And the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Hutchinson has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Gilbert has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Janesville has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Benson has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Wadena, W-A-D-E-N-A, has public housing. And Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Clarksville has public housing. Housing and Redevelopment Authority of Staples has public housing. 1 bedrooms for 50 and older, so 50 plus, has public housing. It doesn't say where, so check your local counties. It is probably throughout Minnesota. And Rental Homes for Future Home Buyers program has a project-based voucher. And Brainerd South has a project-based voucher. Woo! Guys, I've never talked so much. I need a nap now. But if you need other support, on YouTube, there's Section 8 Consulting. I believe he talks about how to help you with your application, how you can also get some legal support, but in the state of Arkansas, I believe. Like I said, you can get legal support with me. I'm licensed in every state except 5, but you can go on there. They'll get you to the right people at arakestraw.legalshieldassociate.com. Also, Mama Cutie Finance, she talks about Section 8. Sometimes she'll come on and she'll show you the apartments and she'll show you pictures. And the affordable housing waiting room, she actually works in the field. She's based out of New York, so she helps support you there in New York. So check them out. Come back to me on Sundays and Mondays when we talk about affordable housing. And throughout the rest of the week, we just talk about living a good life. We talk about healing and herbalism. So if you want to know about those things too, set your alerts, guys. But I love you so much. Don't forget to pass this on to your homeless communities, your families and friends who need it the most, because we know, what do I always say, this rent is too doggone high. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Be well.